Wop. There we go.
A bubba booey.
Booey. Booey.
I just make a noise. I don't. I don't use words.
Words. What are those? That's silly. We don't need words. I don't need words. Stinking words. I'm holding a Reese's. I'm gonna eat this. I've been holding it for a minute.
Wow.
Hello?
Hello, as it is. Well, where's the shed chat? No shed chat? What? I'm confused. Shed chat's on.
I forgot to hit
Yay!
start
Oh.
after we went live. My bad, my bad.
No. Hi, Reaper. Hi, Shepherd.
Hi, Reaper. Hi, Shepherd. You're not claiming first because you're a rebel. Hi, Exodus.
I quickly run over to your stream to claim it. Nah, I couldn't. Or could
Go for it. Go for
it. Come on. Come on.
No faster.
Load, damn it. Cat, why?
Quick,
There's so many new things.
Yeah.
Yay. I did it. Yay.
Oh, Lassie Floxy.
Okay.
Y'all can hear all the alerts and everything, right? Let me know if
can't.
you don't hear anything. I think I turned everything back on because I had everything turned off for the read along.
Oh, I see. How did that go? How far did you get into the book?
We got to chapter 8, I believe.
Out of.
Hi, Paula. Hi, Valross. Thank you for the 15, Paula. Yeah, I think we got to chapter 8. So I read 7 chapters before for 2.5 hours.
Nice.
And my throat was just like dying at the end, but that's okay. I had fun. I had fun.
That's the main thing. You passed out.
Oh,
like
good. I did my job.
Fell asleep. Hi, Lise. We haven't been burgling yet. By the way, Kat, why do you have nanny tabs and something else?
What?
I can see 2 different things. I don't know why. I see something called nanny tabs, and then you post as well.
Where?
In my chat, I see 2 things. Hang on, let me screenshot and send it to you. They're 2 different things that say the same thing pretty much. And it bugs me. What? I'm a bit low.
Oh, for the check-in.
Yeah. But they say 2 different numbers.
Yeah, so the nanny tabs is the bot for the check-in widget. And so command has been in existence longer than the nanny tabs check-in bot has been using. So that's why. And I can't edit a bot to have the same count. And when the bot doesn't work, it also doesn't sync. That's why.
Oh. Why the
I was so
phone? What'd I
confused.
do?
Like, nanny tabs. I'm like, who's nannying our
I
tabs?
don't know. That's what I was asking you.
Who's nannying our tabs? What nannies do we have going on here?
I don't know. So, what? A complimentary bonk? Like a free one? Or like a good one? What? Where's the... Oh, there it is. What's this?
Like an
What's this?
aggressive head pat?
Schmorgy. Nah.
Is these giving you an aggressive head pat? Is that what the bonk is?
Aggressive? Rude.
Yeah. So instead of like a nice, gentle pat pat, it's more like a pat pat pat.
Oh. I see. Okay, this is all looking good on my end. So I'm gonna move over here. Yeah. I feel bad because you're so small on my screen. I'm gonna make you a little bigger. I'm gonna make you bigger, but then I had my booba. You go over there, or you go over here?
You can have me little.
No,
Just hide the booba window.
no. Can't hide the booba window. What's the point of the booba window if you're just gonna hide it? Hi, Rick. How's it going? Okay. We gnomes. Nice. Beard.
Oh yes, very nice
I don't
beard.
like the hat. The hat wiggle.
You don't like the wiggly wobbly hat?
No.
Wibbly wobbly.
I didn't
Wibbly
like
wobbly.
the mouth either.
You wanna know what's even better?
Ah!
You
Ooh.
can grab
Ooh.
is this the
Can you...
You can grab it.
It's a girl house. Gimme. 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 How do you grab? How do you grab?
I just right click.
That grab?
Yeah, you like our super long arms? Oh no, I'm on fire.
Why are you on fire? Wait.
I got spit out. Stop, dropping. Yeet.
Never mind.
I've resurrected to spine.
Nice and
I was
toasty.
What? I didn't do that to you last night. Or are you talking about the gnome thing?
So what do we do?
Oh, so to start,
Stockpile is empty.
we hit the bell.
I can push you away. Oh,
Yeah. We load in.
Oh.
Gnome. Oh, you did the gnome thing. Got it. Get gnomed. If anyone's afeared of fallen.
I am.
Oh,
Oh,
close your
God.
eyes. I'll tell you when we land.
Why is there two in front of me? Oh,
God. We landed.
Okay.
Hi, Havoc. How you doing?
Hi, Captain. What the?
There you are.
Mushroom. Hello? Oh, hello.
Mushroom. So this is home.
Okay.
So you look at the bell. It says at least 3 tasks must be completed to request extraction, and then when we want to extract before time, we do the bell.
Okay.
If you want to resurrect, you interact with the scrying ball, crystal ball. There we go.
So how do we?
And now
know
we need to find a way
in
and steal things. Oh, tab.
Oh. Aha!
So,
Flood the toilet. What's a fraggle?
yeah.
Shoot a rat.
I
Tase a
don't know.
human. Steal them.
Fragile?
Do we have the same
Fragile
tasks?
things? Yes.
Oh, it says
Gather
fraggle.
fraggles, toilet, shoot
Fraggle
a
rock.
rat, tase. Yeah,
Eh.
steal a metal can.
Knock knock. Knock knock.
We can't go in through the front door.
No.
Who burgles through the front door?
Repo man.
So true, so true. We're both only 3 apples tall. You trying to say something?
What?
Trying to say
I'm at least
apple.
like 3 in a worm.
3 in a worm. Yeah.
What is this?
Look, it's our friends.
Right.
Look, so
Can I
cute.
grab? Can't grab?
No. No.
Can't grab?
This one looks like it's seen some shit.
Yeah, us.
Oh.
You guys are alive?
Oh, we can jump up here
Oh.
and climb this.
Hey. You open that? Roomba.
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 I'm waiting.
Why?
You're tiny and you're walking in front of a Roomba.
Yeah. I'll go on the Roomba.
What do you
Ooh,
think's gonna
What
happen?
is this? Hey.
Who knows
can you
what
get-
will happen?
Can you get sucked up by the Roomba? Hi, Reed Blower.
No, we definitely won't get. Oh, look. No! No! Kirk,
How did you get got?
help!
Why didn't you hide?
Because I was on the window.
Well, why didn't you run away?
Because I had to climb. He's going to throw me out the front door. It's fine.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeet.
Yeet. And now I could come through the front door. Tis fine. Tis fine.
I have a bowl. What do we do with the stuff?
You have to throw it outside.
Or just outside, not like back in the little mushroom house?
No, just outside. No. You gonna chase me around? Stop.
Gimme. Gimme. Gimme.
We've been discovered. Scatter. No!
What? I haven't been discovered. I'm fine. What are you talking about? Where are you?
Ah,
Oh, here you
I've
go.
been.
Yeah, man, I got a bowl.
So once
Why is he
outside
alive?
the little
Why is that thing alive?
Sure.
Oh. Oh,
no
nice.
magic.
Nice. You can open this more.
Don't worry, I'm distracted by food.
Open this door more. There you go. Bug! Give me a bug. Give me. Oh, you.
Oh.
What?
Been armed. No, why me again?
Hello?
Hello, Panda.
Your arms grow back.
I'm not here. I'm not here. Give me my arm.
Okay. Steal a rat. Tase a rat. Shoot a rat.
Uh-oh. Why is the Roomba back on?
There's fuck all in here. Great. Shit. Don't you want a mouse? No.
A moose?
I've been caught.
Again?
Polly. How are you, Polly? Ah! I've been yeeting. At least I'm not being put in the oven this time. Thank you for the
Uppa.
pets.
On upper. I climbed a second ago. How did I do that? I
Jump.
climbed. I climb.
Shift.
Ah, no!
Close. Have you been gotten?
No, I keep getting shut in a cupboard.
Aw.
Because I don't understand the... Ooh, a plate. Ah! No! Ah! These are self-closing cupboard doors.
Yeah.
Well, very helpful in the real world. Pain in the butt if you're a tiny gnome.
Gnome. Oh shit, that's a rat.
A rat. Here you go,
No, the rat
little
got
thing. Take the plate.
No! I died.
No, you died?
I'm in the middle of the kitchen.
Do I have to
The rat got me.
Do I have to take your body?
No, you can CPR me.
How do I... Oh.
Or you can res me at the crystal ball.
How do I... Ah, here we go. Hey!
You've been fully locked in on
gave you
video.
a
Rearrange.
kiss.
Name all your thanks. Ooh,
I gave
nice.
you kiss Oh! No!
You didn't need those garms, did you? Garms? Garms.
No. Where'd the pot go? Pot!
Pot's over here. Your arms are back. Oh shit. Oh
What?
shit.
What?
Oh,
What?
I thought he saw you.
What? Fine.
He put spring traps in.
No. No, no. No thanks. Please put me down. You looking? Oh! Hey! I got yeeted.
Raiho, the dairy. Oh, the rat takes the cheese. Ooh. How do you label your banks in the cities? I just remembered where I stored things. In Black Desert Online.
What the heck? What?
No, Polly, she was saying in my chat that she labeled her bank in BDO.
I can see that now, but it was very kind of
Oh,
out there. I was like, what are you talking about? Gnome label a thing?
Gnome.
Cat! No!
I can't do anything about it. I'm waiting to see where he puts you. Is he throwing you in the oven?
I'm near the oven. I'm in the oven. Help!
I'll come get you.
I'm unconscious. I'm in the... Oh god.
I'm waiting for him to leave.
I can see the inside of my everything. Help. It's so bad. Help. When did he tie me up?
Automatically.
Oh.
You don't gnome? You don't gno?
Up. Uppa. Uppa.
Uppa?
Uppa. I want to get on the countertop. I can't get up there. Can you go away, please?
Ooh, I found some cigarettes.
Oh, no, walk. There's the front door. Am I on top of the walk? Come on.
You treat mine like a squirrel. You just check sometimes and discover neat prizes you left yourself 10 years ago.
Cigarettes?
Yeah.
My daddy makes me smoke cigarettes. I don't eat my scatty. Hello, rat.
You can take one.
Get a rat. I don't know if it's real or if it's like a little toy. Is it a what?
It's a toy. It's a toy.
Need a what? What do we need to do? Flood the toilet. What the heck? It's not good for you. You shouldn't be smoking. You ain't got little lungs. You got little tiny lungs. It's not good. Oh, I found the bathroom. How do we flood the toilet? How do we flood it? Nope.
Gotta throw something in there.
Nope. Up.
Fuck! I found another rat.
Whee!
Fuck you, rat. Now!
Get him.
Did the rat go away?
Yeah, he ran away.
Good.
Open.
Oh. Don't fall off the wagon. I know. I'm trying not to. Oh, we can climb from here. On here.
Oh.
There we go.
Uppies. Uppies?
Oh.
I don't want to go in the toilet. We do it? Did it do it?
No. Oh, what happened? What am I stuck on? Oh, you want to grab the,
Yep.
You just toss it down. Oh.
Oh, that went too far.
The towels will work. As well. Oops. Hello?
Throw that outside.
Hello?
Hello? Ah! Fold. Ooh, hello?
Hello?
Ah!
Oh.
Oh.
Hi.
Nothing happened. Parkour! Ah!
You toss them on the floor.
Ah! Ah! I got it. Fine. Uppy. In the
There we go. In the toilet.
And then flush toilet? Or get the other towel?
Then flush toilet.
Flush toilet. Cucaracha.
Cucaracha.
Cucaracha bites.
There we go.
Hey.
And now we need to steal a metal can.
The cucaracha. She bite.
La cucaracha.
La cucaracha. La cucaracha. Ow! There's two in
Owie,
here.
owie, owie, owie.
I'm hurt. No window in here.
Oh shit, he's in the living room.
In the living room.
The lemon room.
Lemon. I got a
The
slipper.
lemon.
I got a slipper.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
he's
he
off
angry.
the couch.
Tough poops. I took his slipper.
Oh shit.
Where he at?
Don't notice me, senpai.
He's coming into the
He
bedroom.
went in.
La cucaracha.
Hopefully he's going
La
for a bath.
cucaracha. I'm taking your
Finish.
book. La cucaracha.
So we can finish checking
La cucaracha.
the kitchen. Oh shit.
Da, da,
It's
da,
another
da, da, da.
mouse. No. I've been moused
I got the book.
in the kitchen again.
I got another book. Do you need CPR?
Yeah. Yeah, I need smooches to come alive.
Just dead on the floor. Oh, cigarettes!
Just next to the cigarettes, yeah.
That was weird.
How did the Roomba come alive?
I don't know.
Did you resuscitate?
No, I think he turns it on every now and then. In? No,
Oh,
it's
he turned it
trash.
on.
Aw.
Need
Oh,
another one. Fuck you, rat.
more rat.
I got a knife. Oh,
Oh,
hold on, not to lose my arms. There we go. I got a knife.
ah, no. I think I broke something.
Your
I-
arms?
No, I think I broke the plate. Is this a cat bed? Oh, no.
Yes.
Is there a cat? Wait,
Oh,
what?
out of time. We gotta get to the tornado. Run outside, quick.
I
Get your knife
tried.
going.
Ah, my legs. I broke them. I broke
You
my
didn't need them.
legs. Apparently I did.
You did need them?
I'm crawling.
Where are you?
My tiny legs. Can't run. I'm coming. My tiny legs. What? What? Gasp.
I saw a naked guy
What?
and
My
Sasha were
I go
Oh.
up.
You're going up.
It's our moment.
I was listening to that on the way back from the vet. I was driving back to that. Not doing silence this time. Because it was completely silent on the way over. And I'm
So
like, I cannot stand silent car rides.
wait, so a mushroom. I have
Okay,
stuff.
so
I have foods.
uh,
What do we
interact with the
do?
chest, and
Oh,
then
Fraggles.
you should be able to
Oh,
stockpile things.
uh,
Deposit resources. There we go.
oh.
Hold on. And deposit resources.
Scrags are gathered from
Oh.
items made of fabric. Ah.
We were being
Oh,
we were being
oh.
we were being graded. We didn't do all 3 tasks.
Oh, I see. Golden cover win.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Reed. We're doing a closed round. Gemini, thank you for the raid. Thank you, thank you.
I'm a Gemini.
Afraid or hydrate. Hi, y'all. How you doing? How is the rest of Wuthering Waves? Tomb, thank you for stealing my hair right as the raid gets here. Thank you so
Perfect
much.
timing.
Here, have a cursed gnome to look at. How is the rest of Wuthering Waves? Welcome in, raiders.
Can craft things? What? Eh. He's gross.
Isn't that mouth amazing? Yes. Kirk, you gonna go in and touch Are you doing a checkup on the tree gnome?
I don't think I'm a dentist. I don't.
It's nightmare
Maybe-
fuel. Yeah, this specifically is nightmare fuel. The rest of it's fine.
I don't like how the hands caress things. You.
Come here with your sweet little face. with your sweet little head. Come here.
Fucking slender man arms.
This game is so silly. I love it.
Okay. Do we want to try
As long as you're not.
Ow. This hurts.
Stop, drop, and roll. Thank you for the Animal Crossing blurb. Thank you, Zandros. Zenadros? Oh my gosh. Zenandros? How do I say that?
Help. There we go.
That was wonderful. I really enjoyed that.
Whee!
Makes me want to go. Kirk's free falling. She's free falling.
I just get put back in the mouth.
Banana Dros.
In the mouth.
Banana Dros. Okay. Banana Dros. Banana Dros. I can't pronounce anything today. My bad.
You
My
did
mouth
a lot
can't
of
mouth.
talking yesterday, so that's fair.
That is true. Thank you for the 45, Tomb. Why are we here? Just to fondle the No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Let's go again. Let's go free falling. I walked into
You're
the
on fire again.
I'm just that hot. Whenever I get on land, I just burn.
Oh, I don't like
Welcome
this bit.
in. Please make sure you get a drink, a snack, a nap. If you need to raid and run, no worries at all. Please get some rest.
Tell me when we're on
just
the floor.
Gonna have a silly time. We're just gonna have a silly time robbing this guy's house.
Are we on the floor yet?
Yes, you are on the floor. You can look up.
Yeah.
Some yogurt.
Yeah.
And a place to go.
Wait until you play this.
Sorry.
Ooh.
I'm stuck.
What do you do? Come here.
Oh, okay. I was stuck. I could. I'm stuck. What's this? Pork.
What?
Huh?
I really, really like M&M. I like
M&M?
Skittles. No, like the wrapper. Why would you eat the wrapper?
Oh.
I need to play that for you, Kirk.
I know exactly what
that.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Why
I
would
know.
you eat the
I was gonna say I
wrapper?
never heard it.
Ah, my legs! Oop.
Did you break your legs again?
No. Army
No.
crawl.
Did you go on the playground?
Yeah, I bet I did.
Maybe. I maybe jumped off the slide a little. Ooh, a hose! Can I grab this? No. Wait,
No.
can I? No. Fine. Trampoline!
Oh.
Trambopoline!
There's tramboline.
There's a trambopoline.
Oh, he's playing snooker.
I'm sorry, what?
Can I?
This
playing
trampoline
billiards?
sucks.
Is snooker billiards? It's got Atari in here.
Snooker, pool, or billiards. I think snooker and pool are slightly different. Cucaracha.
La cucaracha, la cucaracha. Ay, 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 ay.
Travel through the sewage system. How?
Oh no, I've been got. Are you gonna throw me out the front door?
How we travel
Hey,
through the
I got stuck in the
sewage?
front door.
Can I go down here?
Ah.
No.
We can get flushed down the toilet,
Oh!
or on the back of the
I
house.
think I did
there
it.
might be a pipe that you can reverse yourself through.
I have
Snooker
poops.
is just 2 different ball colors, while pool has numbers. You think? Oh, okay.
I picked up a poop.
Now one final poop disappear into the interwebs.
Oh, it's pool.
Yeah.
No. No! No! Taking my poop. Help!
Dog just bark and bark just tree. Oh, hi. Hi, Kirk.
Help! Yeah!
Whee! I was trying to catch you, but he threw you over my head.
I have poop.
What?
Oh, look, I show you.
You could
Hang
just,
on.
you could just
I show
no.
you.
I could see it. No. I'm good. I'm good.
I show you.
I've already seen poop today. I
There
don't
you
need to
go.
see more poop.
How do I put it down? How do I drop it?
I don't know. Just start hitting buttons.
Did I eat it?
You put yourself down. I like
What did
how
I
you
do?
just flopped. I don't know.
What did I do? How do I use the poop? How do I use it?
No,
Oh. Why is
is it meant to be
I
used?
take the cushion? I don't know. Can I take this? Oh, I can.
There's-
Ah, mine.
I'm gonna take this a tone. Wow, the internet has spoken. Thank you for the blurps. Thank you. Oh no,
Where is he taking
you've been
me?
gnomed.
Where is he taking
Cannot.
me? Oh, I'm in the oven. Help.
I'm coming.
Help me.
Let me just throw the Atari outside.
Help me.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Where's the oven? Oh,
I don't know. I'm being cooked
no cooking allowed.
a little bit. I'm gonna take this as retribution.
Oh shit! Steal a fork.
Help!
Shoot a human.
Help!
Break items. No. You can't get me. I'm
can
behind the
try.
couch. Get me. Mwahahaha. Hi, Too Tired. How you doing?
God damn it!
Oh, you got.
Put me down, sir. I can see inside your face. I don't like it. Where are you taking me? Where are you taking me?
The front door?
No. We just went past the front door. Why are you taking me? Toilet! No!
You're doing stuff that's illegal.
Oh.
Would you rather be unable to move your body every time it rains or not be able to stop moving when the sun's out?
I'm
Ooh.
sorry, what?
It was a would you rather.
What if I'm inside?
As long as I'm inside, I'd be fine. Did he
If I can't see
Nope,
the
you didn't see
sun?
me. Nope, you didn't see me. Oh.
Huh?
I
No!
messed with his line of sight.
Ball.
Bol. Is he chasing the ball?
Maybe.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, you've been here too long. Thank you for the 5 streak. We need to find a fork and steal a fork. I'm gonna climb the... Hi, Luna. How you doing? I need to get a fork. Fork.
Me.
Eh. Thank you for the bonk.
Eh.
Streaking through my gnomes. Thank you for the 3 streak.
I got. Oh, you got a fork.
Thank you for the bonk. I got a
Uh-oh.
fork. No.
Uh-oh.
As long as the fork's out here, it's okay.
Eh.
I've been got.
Can he pick
Is he
both
gonna
of us
yeet
up?
me? No, I don't think so. I've not seen him do that yet.
Okay.
You're good, hot as fuck, but you're doing. We need to either shoot a human, break items, or gather fraggles. Thank you for the bonk spam. But why? What did I do?
How many items do we need to break? Oh, I did it.
2.
I done it.
Oh, you done it.
I
You
don't
seen
know.
me.
Hello. No.
Hi, son.
No.
How are you?
No. No. I got caught. Hello, Sly.
The
No.
uncertain.
No, take me outside, please.
Hello.
You left a bonk.
I have a fork stuck in
You
my
left
foot.
a bonk.
I have a fork in my foot.
Walked. Wait, you have a bonk in your foot. Is that
I have
what you said?
I have a
You
fork.
have a bonk?
A fork in my foot.
A fork.
Yeah.
Where'd he
Still in
take
my
you?
foot. I went to the toilet.
Oh, okay.
What? You just try and take the fork out of my foot? Hello, Luna. Up.
I'm sorry you had to walk home. That stinks.
Was there what?
Luna had to walk home today. That's always stinky. Nobody likes walking home. If they don't have to.
Mm.
I probably
Did
shouldn't
you-
look at these cupboards because a mouse is going to spawn and I'm going to die. Oh,
Did you have to
this
walk
plate.
far? I got a car.
Car. Did you know you can sit in the car?
Oh. Oh. Oh no! Why? Double audio
Did he
is
grab
wild.
you?
Yeah, I think I'm going in the oven again.
I'm coming.
Mm-hmm. You know, Sly, you can turn the audio off of one. Ow! My
Yeah.
seat's hot. My leg!
Why?
'Cause it's hot as fuck over here right now.
Oh, the heat wave.
Yeah.
Hello.
England is burning.
I've come to rest.
Hello. England is burning.
There is a Kirk fly and a cat fly. Ooh.
Oh.
We need more fraggles.
How do you get fraggle? Oh, hello.
No.
Bonk ya.
I found a plate.
Uh-oh.
Ah! No! My plate. I'm being ovened.
Okay.
Oh, roasting. In a big ass hot room with a fan that doesn't feel like it's doing much for the room as a whole. Oh. I'm sorry. I send you cool vibe. I'm no longer roasting.
Hey. Here you go. Hey.
Thank you.
Your plate's over there.
Okay. This is not the way out. Where's the way out?
This way. What the heck? Oh. Come on. Come on, walk.
This way.
Walk this way.
Dun, dun, dun. You have us all beat. With the heat, it's like 49 Celsius right now. Did he just shoot us?
Uh-huh. Oh.
He was just like, these damn gnomes, I'm taking my dang gun and I'm gonna go pow pow.
Yup.
I did not see that coming.
No, I saw him. I saw him hold something, and then we died. I got shot off of the edge of the map. What the heck?
You. Us work right now. You're really thinking about going to get to the gas station down the street and see if someone can tell you why your app to them keeps getting denied. Change your weather app to Celsius and it's saying it's 28 right now.
Mine says it's 32 here, which I don't believe.
Mine says it's 31.
I don't like his mouth noises.
I can never tell if it's happy or mad at us, but I always feel like I'm being judged.
I don't like the mouth noises. Can we make a thing?
Because I have central AC. That's why I'm not dying. The UK is melting.
Oh, we can make spring shoes.
Oh, you want to go
and
spring?
Gloves?
No, we need more gnomium.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, we can make one pair of spring shoes.
Yeah, make yourself some spring shoes.
You can only wear one spring shoes at a time. How did I do it? Am I wearing them?
You made it?
I am wearing them. Hey.
No. Oh, yeah, now I see them. Oh, don't walk in the fire. All right. Let's go.
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 Uh-oh. I don't like the falling.
Okay, close your eyes.
Okay.
I'll tell you when we're down.
Thank you.
Instead, my fear is getting got by the cucaracha.
You don't like cockroaches?
I have a phobia of them, yeah.
Oh.
It's one of the few things, so I can't actually look at them.
Oh no.
We've landed. We're on the ground.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh. Thank you, Luna. Thank you for the treat.
Treat. What?
All right.
Is he throwing a rat?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Huh.
Well, at least the front door's open now.
Yeah. The rat's trying to get back in.
Hi. Oh shit. Don't close the door. No.
Run!
Oh, did he get you?
No.
Wobbly cat was not on your bingo card today?
Hello.
No.
Good luck.
Hello, Sherlock. I don't like his face. No! I'm being toileted again.
Oh, no.
Why do I keep getting thrown in the toilet? I don't get it. Why?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure why.
There's a... If you get thrown in the toilet, there's literally some ivy right there to get back in. Oh, nice! A toaster! You want a toaster?
Hell yeah.
Why am I...
Oh, that's a good reason. It's because you're a piss streamer. Oh shit! No, don't notice me.
I got yeeted off of the thing.
Desdemona Grimm, thank you for the raid. How was the stream? What were you playing? Oh, you were playing some Burglin Gnomes. Let's go. Did you have fun? Thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing?
Uh-oh.
Welcome in, welcome in.
I hear the stomps. No!
Oh, you've been gone.
No, not the oven, not the oven, not the oven. Put me in the toilet again, please. No!
Berlin for your birthday? Let's go. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
I'll come rescue you
Help
after I do my little
Help me.
But yeah,
I'm in the oven.
welcome in. If you need to raid and run, no worries at all. Everybody, I hope you take this chance to get a drink, a snack. If you need a nap, if you need to raid and run, no worries at all. Please make sure you stretch and do all that nonsense. We're just having a whole silly time here, being a bunch of little silly goobers.
Climb.
Playing this absolutely silly game. But yeah, happy birthday! Thank you so much for the raid. Did you all get very far? Hi, Noctur. Oh, I almost broke my arms. I'm breaking my arms again.
Don't do that.
Can't lift. I can't lift. This thing is stuck. This pan. Oh no, I'm being closed in. Oh no, he's got a gun. Oh no, he's got a gun. I'm getting back in here. No, don't notice me. Don't shoot me. No, don't grab me. Oh.
You died to evil gnomes. Hi.
You got too cocky. Evil gnomes? Are there evil gnomes?
Unless you mean friends.
Okay, I'm being thrown out the front door. That's okay.
Okay.
But he does have a gun. We need to steal it from him.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I don't know. Knock him unconscious. Tase him.
How do you do that?
He's in the kitchen. I guess we gotta find a taser or something.
Ite Kirk Damon. It's underpants. Gnome time. Bing bong ham.
Ah! I got attacked by the spring. Oh no, he took this opportunity to grab my armless body. Are you gonna toilet me? I'm gonna get toileted.
No, it's nothing.
There's nothing.
It's nothing. I broke a plate. What's this? I got a little pot of something. I think it's... Oh, it's coffee. Oh, hello!
He went into the room to your right.
Oh.
Or just FYI.
I hear footsteps.
Flush.
Gather grabble. Stab a rat. Steal any item from a hallway. You can stop. Is this a hallway? Does this count as a hallway? He's asleep on the sofa, I think.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, this counts as a hallway. Nice. Is this a thing from a hallway?
It's a stab a rat,
Oh.
tease a rat.
Okay, so the Roomba just turns back on every now and then, I think. It's like off for a certain amount of time. Hey,
Oh.
done did. Go away, Roomba.
Done did. Oh, another cup. A cup. What's a grabble? I know what a fraggle is. Oh,
I
shit.
don't know.
No, don't notice me.
No, senpai. Don't do it.
Okay.
Boing.
No.
Plunger. Oh, I can
Look
take
at
the
me.
plunger.
No. Ah! Sorry, that was loud.
Nah, you good.
Shot me in his front yard. So rude. I don't know if you can CPR my dead body. But,
No.
Nope. Well, I think we're dead.
I'm doing okay, Asta. How are you doing?
I need this game in my life. It is so silly. I love it.
I wonder what the full game will have. Will it have more enemies, I guess? More humans? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I missed.
Did you fall?
Yeah.
You're back.
I'm back.
Shotguns?
I'm sorry, what?
Well, this is the most I've been shot at in this game. Customizable house. Ooh, that would be nice. We didn't complete 3 tasks.
Aw. Well, we got caught. Oh.
Your head is removed from your body. If CPR works, you'll be shocked.
What the heck? What is Twitch? What are you doing? There we go.
Twitch being a silly. Did you know you can steal his whiskers from him?
What?
His wood whiskers. E. You should be able to E. You might have to jump to E. I don't know what they do. Smack somebody.
Can we splat the rat?
I don't know. It does. It's very breakable.
Yeah, broke.
Did you break it?
No.
You got another?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? You ready to fall?
Yes.
No. Okay.
Okay. I close
Here
my
we go.
eyes.
Close your eyes. His wood skirt. Exactly, Luna. Exactly.
I don't like the feeling of falling.
I don't mind it. I don't have
like it
an
takes
issue with heights or
me.
anything.
It takes me a minute on a roller coaster to like realize I'm
we've
safe.
landed.
Hey,
We've landed. That's fair. Yeah, that's a pretty normal thing, though.
Mwah.
Tiyo! I'm like, you're holding my beard. I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on. I feel like I'm being like, look this way, look that way.
Knock knock.
Knock knock.
Hey. We're in the bush. No. We go in the shed?
I don't know. I've not figured out how to get into the shed.
Oh.
I want to go in this one.
Because there was an item that was like you can
steal a toy, break,
you
trap
can
through sewer.
like open doors and stuff.
Book. You want this book?
Yeah,
I
throw a book outside.
There we go. Done.
Give me the other book. We need more book. What are you doing?
You had an old friend.
No.
getting on a roller coaster once. You're pretty sure she regretted that? Oh no. What happened to Kirk? No, no, no. I've been murdered in the kitchen by the rat once again.
No. I'm not here. I'm not here.
Oh, stretchy, stretchy. When you're dead, you take a stretch.
Is that the rules? Uh-oh.
Sure.
You're in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Okay. He's in the kitchen.
Did on the kitchen.
Well, he went in the kitchen.
I just push up the kitchen
Oh my
tiles,
God.
you know.
He's putting your shit away. No. Can I take the cat bed? No.
Oh, I can
Stomp,
view
stomp.
what you're seeing.
No.
Yeah, we couldn't get Don't Panic Together to work. We kept trying and it was just like crashing. And the mic settings weren't working.
Help. You looking?
It was the demo, to be fair.
You looking?
But I wanted to try the demo before. Your friend said if you get scared, you can hold my
Breathe.
hand. You don't like height.
Breathe. Breathe. I think you're gone.
No! Try now.
Do I need to take you outside or?
No, you should be able to just interact with my
No.
body. Nope. All right, then you might need to go to the crystal ball. Oh.
Ah, no! Please throw me outside. Please throw me outside. Please throw me outside. Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Whoa. Right into the
mushroom ball. What?
Picks it up like this. It's right here. Oh, hold on. Let me finish reading.
What we have to do? What?
Your friend said if you get scared, you can hold my hand. You didn't like heights, but it was a basic coaster. But you still grabbed her hand immediately. 2 problems has happened. 1 for you and 1 for her. You hadn't trimmed your claws. So when you clenched after it got moving. Oh no! It also is rickety.
Sorry.
Oh. You're good. I'm coming.
Crash Out Crew? What's Crash Out Crew? Oh no.
Oh,
Not oven. No, please. No thanks. No, I'm in the fridge? I'm sorry, what?
oh.
I'm in the fridge.
Thank you, Fua, for the raid. How you doing? How is Bond? How is Bond time? Did you have some fun on your mission? Can I open this?
Help. Help me.
Oh, it's heavy. I'm trying.
Help me.
I'm trying. There you go. Let's steal this
Yay.
milk. What is this, coffee? Whatever it is, we're taking it. We're taking it. Hi, Tiger.
I'll leave his fridge open.
Yeah.
Hi, Tiger.
Fridge is. Oh shit. Fridge's place. No, let me live. Let me live. Let me just burgle in peace.
No, not allowed.
No. I mean, burgle in
How are you
peace.
supposed to climb? I don't understand. Climbing is hard.
Don't laugh at me. Oh no. Oh, I thought I was being put in a pan.
Oh, can I take this?
Let's see the collab. I've been ovened. I'm just a little roasted gnome.
Oh no, I got some cheese. Want some cheese?
Life. Yeah, you want to cheese me?
Want some cheese?
You want to roast some cheese on me?
You don't roast
Get me
cheese.
fondued. Fried gnome. Hi.
It's heavy.
Well, thank you for the follow.
Hello.
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 I've been rescued.
Here's
Is
some
it time
cheese.
for the cheese dip?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Perfectly safe cheese.
Perfectly safe. Not trapped
Perfectly
in any
safe.
way.
No. Why
Oh,
would you think
fuck.
that?
Right into him. No.
Why you do this?
No. Uh-huh. You can't get me.
Whack him with your stick. Oh, hi, rat. Oh, you don't have your stick
Oh, that's
anymore.
right.
Come here, you. Come here, you rat. Oh. Oh. What? What the?
No! No, 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 no.
That doesn't make no sense.
I'm playing with him around the pool table. Watch out. Oh, he's
Okay.
going toward the front door?
I'm not
You
over
angry?
there, so that's okay. Oh, no.
Oh, did he get a gun?
Maybe. Rat! What? No! Ah! Dead. I'm dead in the kitchen.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
trying
coming
to
to
get off my
resuscitate you.
stick and I pressed the wrong button.
Comes great big booty bitches.
Human is a bot.
Yeah, a bot.
AI bot.
Resuscitate!
Help.
Friend! Come to life!
Squish me.
Squish, 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 smooch!
Wake
up.
I forgot
Wake up.
how this looks.
It's fine. It's not sus at all. Please wake up. It's not working.
Apparently I can haunt you.
It's not working. Okay. Oh, I'm being haunted.
What does that mean?
Let's go outside. Oh,
What'd that do?
it means I cannot revive your body.
Oh.
Hi, Rain. That gnome is throwing it back. Oh, no. Oh, or he got a gun. America. Go. Would you rather have skin that changes color based on your emotions or tattoos appear all over your body depicting what you did yesterday? I'd rather the tattoos.
I would rather not the tattoos.
That is so true. That is so true, Sly. I have very, very smooth brain.
You go on a family holiday and then it's like, oh, we all know what you did yesterday. No.
You can cover them up with some clothes. Depends on where they, as long
I was
as.
gonna say.
Oh, he shot me.
Is you dead?
It's on his dinner table, and he shot me.
Where he at?
In the dining room. It was where I last found him. Oh, he's coming for you. He's coming for you. He's got a gun. He's shooting at you.
Please! That's cheating!
Oh no,
he's cheating! That's cheating!
Saw you somehow.
Please no! Yeah, just throw me. Just throw me. It's fine. Just throw me. Hey!
If you travel through the sewer system, we'll live. Okay, let's go through the sewer system. Get her. How you doing, Rain?
We can break like 6 things. How do you travel through the sewer system? You just go through the toilet?
The toilet, or you can flush yourself down the toilet, or you can go to the pipe in the back of the house.
Oh, hi. No. No!
No?
I've been picked up.
Found it.
I have uppies. Uh-ohs. He is taking me somewhere.
Too late.
Kitchen?
Too late.
I'm in the kitchen. I'm in the oven.
You're in the kitchen. You're in the oven.
Yep.
Roasted Kirk.
Help.
I'm coming. Oh, I'm coming. Yes, that is legit what Kirk was like.
Huh?
Oh no, it's the deadly Roomba. It's coming for me.
Oh, is that the what's his name? Thingy from The Walking Dead. But
Yes.
it's when he's playing, not playing, when he's, what's his fucking name? A superhero.
Doing the Punisher?
Dead? That's it. I was gonna say Daredevil. Fuck's sake.
It's the same. It's the same. They're both the what is it, defenders?
Yeah, there you go.
Looking a little bit twisty there.
Yeah, that one's like. Thank you for the bits.
Nom nom nom. Thank you for the bits.
I forget what his name in the is in The Walking Dead. Is it Shane?
Shane in The Walking Dead. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh no! It's a Garret. It's a Garret. No.
We need more stuff. Give me this stuff.
We need to break stuff.
You don't deserve this, sir. This is mine now. You don't deserve this. This is mine. What?
Welcome back from ads, everybody.
He's going in the kitchen.
Yeah, he sees me.
Oh no. He had a gun. I'm stealing
I
his
see.
I'm stealing his game thing.
His Atari? You're stealing his Atari?
Is it an Atari? My brain just It is. Oh.
He's coming towards the front door.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Oh no, he's coming back. No, no, no. Oh, I got shot.
Oh.
You wanna
How many
crystal ball me if you can.
how many balls do we have?
Never enough. I have no idea, to be honest.
It's out of charges.
We've got 2 minutes. It's charging?
It's out of charges. It's all gone.
Okay, so only 1 revive. Got it.
I think we did like 3.
Yeah,
Anyway?
so you can ring the bell then.
Okay. Bing bing.
Ding ding. It's dinner time.
You know.
Whee!
I don't mind the going up. It's the going down I don't like.
Oh no, okay. Whee! Looks like you're a starfish, just flipping around.
Can't see me anymore.
Great.
Whee! Plop.
Oh, I thought you were about to fall in the fire.
Oh. Very nearly. Hi.
Close.
My little belly.
Do you still need to crystal ball me?
Oh.
Hello.
The...
I'm haunting you. Oh, there we go.
Oh. I was wondering what that was. I saw a little blue gnome. Hello, Rain.
Drink water, you
There's the
dehydrated
report.
bitch.
Oh.
Like how it was like steal a book.
Today.
Instantly.
Nomium reward. Gnome's dead 1.
Gnome.
Aw. Day 2.
All right, what can we make?
Electric Boogaloo.
You want some shoes again?
No.
Boing boing shoes. No?
No, you can have the shoes.
I'll take the
Hello,
shoes this time.
Mana!
Hi, Manna. How you doing?
You need to draw me stuff. How do I commission you?
Hi, Manna. Yeah, how do we commission you, Manna?
It looks like you're wearing roller skates.
Scared the fuck out of you? The hello?
I'm sorry. I screamed a little.
No, that or the alert, the hello alert. Boing, boing, boing.
Yeah, I actually have water today.
Oh no, the world's about to end. Kirk has
Well,
water.
I want my voice to be better, and the only way to do that is to drink more water. So bleh.
Bleh.
You know,
You can
like doing
also
commissions, but what?
Oh yeah, the Jack pose. I forgot about that.
How
I forgot
about
about that.
art request, and then I give you like Christmas money early.
Ooh. You don't suck, Mana. You do
No.
not suck.
Have you? I'm sorry. Has everyone seen the fucking
Mana's artwork.
the amazing Captain Havelock? The it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Hold on. I think I actually have it.
I do not.
Right there. Right in the middle of my screen. Bam. It
I
was
don't.
still on my OBS. Let's
Oh my
go. Prego Havelock right there.
What
All
do I want you to draw? Hang on. Hang on. Let me get up the cat. Can you send me that picture so I can put it on mine?
Oh yeah. Yeah. One
Show
second.
people. And then I will
There you go. DM'd.
Oh. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay, add image.
Beautiful.
Okay. Where is it? What did it save? What did it save? There it is. Here we
There
go.
it is.
You see beautiful Havelock? See the beautiful? You see you see this beautiful art by Mana. Beautiful.
I love
I
it.
love it so much.
I love it so much.
Like, I mean, just the detail as well is amazing.
Yes.
Mana, you're just too good. Really slow because it takes you hours or days. I mean, that's art, though. That's
Yeah.
art. It does take a little while sometimes, most of the time. But
And if you try to force it, it doesn't look as good.
yeah. I did have a picture to send you, Mana, but I've lost it. So when I find it, I will send you. Okay. Boing.
Boing, boing. Ready?
A lot of those details you fucked up and said, you know what, it looks good. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Wow.
Closing my eyes.
And we're free. Free falling. We spin and spin and spin.
That reminds me,
And
if we were to sing Golden, my my singing voice is too low for it.
oh,
Are we on the floor
I
yet?
can't sustain her high notes for more than a second.
Are we on the floor? I don't hear the tornado.
Oh yeah, sorry. I said plop, but I did not articulate that we are actually landed.
Okay.
That was my bad.
Yeah.
Plop does not say landed. I should know better.
Okay, I'm going around to the left of the house. Who was it that said we should sing Golden? Was it Havelock?
Yeah, I think so. Womp. I found a ball. Where's the front door? Is this the front door? I guess I'm just gonna pile everything at the front door.
Found the bathroom. I don't know why I'm carrying the
We
cushion
could
around
flush
with
it all
me.
down the toilet by one, if it's small items.
We can flush stuff down the toilet?
Food, peppers, yeah, small items. Stab a
Huh.
rat, cause an explosion, flush an item down the toilet. Perfect. Flush a small item down the toilet.
Is this the front door?
I think so.
Okay. Let's make a little pile behind that door. Oh no!
Yep. Oh no. Ow. I died.
What do you mean you died?
I died in this cabinet. No, I'm alive, I think. Nope. I died. Is it like the second
him stomping
cabinet in?
Oh.
Have a good look, man.
I can see your arm. Hello. You alive?
I'm dismembered, so... Oh no.
What did we
Did
get
you also
got
die?
by?
Was it the knife? Did we die to the knife?
There was a knife in there?
Yeah. It was underneath the crock pot. Is
Oh
that
my
what I died
God.
on?
Probably.
Oh, that's so irksome. I don't like that. I don't like that. Well, we're about to get dismembered again.
I'm falling off the edge. Why? Hello.
Hi.
I'm staying here.
Yeah. Oh, grab your face too.
No. No.
This game is so silly. I love it.
It's the people
I
that
can't
get
wait
really,
to-
really far in it. How?
I know. Do you just need more people?
Maybe? I don't know. I mean, you'd have more chance to get stuff.
How many days did Brutus and I get to? It was like 3 or 4?
We've gotten to 2. No, we got to 3. Did we?
I think
Maybe?
so. I don't remember.
Fire.
Are you warming your hands by the
My fingy's cold.
Your fingers are cold.
Yeah.
Here. Oh. I did not mean to put them there. I'm so sorry. I technically touched your no-no spot and I got nervous and so I shoved you. I did not. I meant to grab your beard and caress your beard and warm my hands in your beard and my hands just ended somewhere else.
How dare you?
I know. I'm so sorry.
How dare you do this to my little gnome body?
Oh, we landed.
Yay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'm gonna go to the right of the house.
Okay, I go left.
It's a good thing that he's made little paths for us to follow in his garden.
Oh, I don't have one on my side. I probably should have followed the path. Because there's definitely no way up so far.
Tiny little gnome path.
Oh, I found the toilet.
I don't see a way in yet.
Flush an item down the toilet. Steal a bear toy.
Oh, hi. Did you fall?
I broke my legs.
How did you fall?
I yeeted myself off the window by accident.
You broke your legs.
There we go.
Whoa. Whoa.
Eh. Eh.
Up.
We ready to flush?
I may be stuck. I'm stuck.
Where?
I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Oh no.
Oh, where you stuck?
In the child's bedroom? I'm a little stuck.
No, 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 you don't see me. You don't see. Oh, shit, I've been got. Can you unstuck, but it kills you?
If it kills me, I'd rather
Just need to
not.
restart round because I've been captured and I don't know where he's taking me to. I have a feeling he's about to throw me in the fireplace. No, the front door. Nope, we're going in the kitchen.
Oh.
I'm going in the fridge. I'm gonna become a popsicle.
I'm trying my best to unstuck. I got stuck.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. I'm flopping around in the fridge. Flopping in the fridge. Floppy, floppy in the fridge. Floppy in the fridge.
I did.
We died.
I had to unstuck.
It's
I was
okay.
very much stuck.
Tis okay.
So don't climb the why do I keep getting yeeted off the map?
Because it knows that you're scared. Get ready. We ready to explode? Shared brain cell. Let's go.
Oh.
Oh no, great. It's the mouth. Get me out. Thank you.
Mouth.
Mouth. Let me know when you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Bong. By 4K. Oh my gosh, I got so many raids today. Panicky. I said I got so many raids today, and I was just everyone giving me a panic. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot my raid message.
Congrats! And it was someone's birthday.
Yeah. I don't know why I keep coming to the front door.
I was wondering if there was something up here, but no. Bigger legs.
There's no, my legs are still attached for now.
For now.
Thank you for the hugs.
What? Why mine?
You get hugs too.
Oh yeah. I don't have a hug emote.
Why? Why not?
I don't have one yet. Go up here?
Gather plasto, cause an explosion, flush an item down the toilet, break any item, kill a human. I found a mouse. I'm gonna flush it down the toilet.
Hmm.
Is this plastic? This count as plastic? Pardon?
What is it?
Toothpaste.
Maybe?
We try. Will those count?
Oh. I'm on the shelf.
Are you a gnome on the shelf? I was supposed to say elf on the shelf, but you're not. I know if you're a gnome.
Uh-oh. Oh,
the
no.
gnome.
No.
Have you been got?
I nearly got stuck again.
Oh no. Oh, what this?
Oh, hi. Is that my
Hi.
stuff? Oh. Oh,
Well,
break.
we needed to break an item. Oh.
Just the one?
No, we need one more.
Oh.
What's over here?
Ah, right. Yeet.
I think he's watching TV. Oh no. Nope. I'm behind the bed. You can't get me. He's looking for you. I'm going towards the front door.
Okay. He's still here? He is still here. Please leave. No. No. I'm not here. I'm not here. Leave. Leave. Please.
Uh-oh, I've been seen.
Oh.
No, take me to the front door. No, take me to the front door.
Where's he taking
The
you?
potty
Oh.
is a... Oh.
Hi.
We just like locked eyes. Like, oh, hey, what's up?
Oh, hey, guy.
Hi, Quantum. How you doing? Happy Friday. Don't look. I'm being flushed down the toilet.
Hi, Quantum.
And here we go. Right back at it. "10 minutes left. That's okay.
I'll give you plenty of time to do stuff.
Oh, no. Don't fall. There we go.
No! No!
Oh, no. I found a taser.
You found the what?
I found a taser.
Help. Help. Get him.
How do I take...
I don't know. Goodbye. So rude.
Did I use it on him? Did I use it on me? I used it on him. Come back through. He's been tased.
What is happening?
Just be careful of his knees.
that
I put the
booty.
taser on him. That booty, though.
Yeah. The Roomba's a little stuck.
Look at that.
The Roomba got
amazing.
stuck. Cat.
Oh.
Hi. We got Roomba.
We got Roomba. We're just trying to collect every deck possible in this game, you know? We really are. We got the fridge, we got the oven, we got the gun. We got the Roomba, the cockroach. We got the what else we got? The rat. The rat, my
Yeah.
favorite. No, don't cough me out.
There we go.
Oh, this game is silly. I love. And we start all over. Right? Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Oh, nope. I'm trying to do something and it's not doing it. There we go. Hello.
Hi. I love your face. I love your face.
Grab your leg.
Blah, blah, blah. My legs.
Give me your knees.
My knees.
Give me your... Oh, I grabbed a foot.
Bonk. Sorry. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. I ruined the moment. I'm sorry. Crook will never forgive me. Cause we're free. Free falling. Only to smack into the ground. And I think we've landed. Yep, you're landed. Yeah, you're landed.
Okay.
I'm gonna go follow the path this time.
I'm gonna go left.
What is this? Is this a fairy? 3 scrapling.
What?
Lizzie! Look at this. If you go to the right, follow the path.
What?
There's a fairy.
I'm coming.
She wants 3 scrap.
How do we do that?
I don't know.
Hello. You don't have what Lizzie wants. Okay.
And if you look at her over, her, it says 3 scrapling.
Yeah. Okay.
So we gotta find some scrap for her. So I guess we yeet stuff outside and then check what's in our inventory.
Yeah.
In the chest.
I'm gonna open this. I wanna go in there.
What is this? Is this a guillotine? Oh no, it's just a bench.
A guillotine?
I don't know. I saw cables. I assumed guillotine, you know.
There were so many gnomes that I just had to make a guillotine.
Gnomelicious.
I'm in the toilet.
Steal any item from the kitchen, a clock, tase, a rat, shoot a rat, flush an item down the toilet.
Oh, I can do that. I think.
Oh. Oh, they're robotos. There's a legit jungle gym in here. What are you doing? No, no, I've been snatched. I've been caught. Please throw me out the front door. Because I'm a little innocent. No. No, not the fireplace.
Oh,
why would you do this to me?
Oh.
I've been roasted.
Oh no.
I'm a roasted gnome.
Damn it.
I'm dead in the fireplace.
Okay, let me... No, go in the toilet.
There you go. I'm haunting you.
All the way. Alright, flush. Okay. Alright, let's go find you. What? Can I not open the door? Okay. Am I trapped in here? Or is it pull?
Is it a pull or a push door? You might need to grab the door handle.
Am I stuck in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Oh no. Alright.
Instead, if you climb up from where the thing is, the pipe. So if you flush yourself down.
Oh, yes. Ah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you still alive? Or not?
No.
Oh.
I am very roasted and desiccated.
Okay. I'm gonna try my best.
Alright. Alright, Kirk. Alright, Kirk. Alright, Shep. Have a dinner. Have a good lunch.
Flames! Thank you for the raid! Welcome in! How's it going? I really need to update my raid sound because I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. I'm stuck! How did Minecraft go? How did totally normal Minecraft go? No.
Uh-oh.
Just throw me outside. Just throw me outside. Just throw me outside. Throw me outside. Throw me outside. Throw me outside. No, not in the fridge.
No.
Not in the fridge.
We've been...
Ooh,
I've been flamed. You've been fridged.
I didn't know where outside was. It was very normal. I don't know about that.
We're doing so well, Kirk.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
We're doing great.
Why
We're
do
doing
I keep
great.
falling off? Tase a roach. Shoot a rat. I flushed something down the toilet.
Good job.
We did one.
Still death. Still death.
Oh, bye. My head fell off. Like, fell off the island. I feel like there should be... Oh, why? Why did it spawn me, like, way off to the side?
I don't know.
There needs to be, like, background music or something. Like a little radio we can turn on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No wonder I'm like, everything's so quiet.
I would also like emotes. What is this? Is that just ragdoll?
What was that?
Q. You hold it down. Bleh.
Wop. Bleh. Play dead.
But why? Goodbye.
Are you about to?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, my friend.
My arms!
Did I take your arms with me? I did.
Maybe.
I did. Give me that face. Give me that face. Squish, squish, squish.
No.
Squish, squish, squish. Squishy, squishy, squishy. All right.
Let's try
again. Bong. Bong.
I'm gonna try and watch it again and see if I can handle it.
I usually just like stare at a roof or something rather than our characters.
It's just when they
I do
when they get close to the ground, my stomach just does like a backflip.
Oh. We've
like,
landed. I don't know where you
I'm,
are. Oh, there you are.
No, the grass is too tall. I need to cut the grass.
I'm waiting for somebody to say that that we're shorter than the grass or something. I've been waiting for that joke the whole time.
We're about the same height as the grass. Take our hats off.
In real life or just in game?
Both.
Both.
Up.
Oh,
What do we
steal a
have to
can of
do?
soup.
Soup.
Stab a roach. Soup. Tase a rat. Steal a toy.
Soup. The tasty soup.
Soup.
Oh. That's sweet potato.
Oh, these are scraplings.
Ah. Plate.
Plate?
Plate. Huh. Trying to find where, can I open this? No.
No.
Up.
Let's go
Can I reach the...
this way.
Can I reach the...
Go to
Yeah, I got it!
kitchen.
I got
You
it!
got it! Let's
Got it! I can hear
Where
the
is-
Roomba. The front door!
Oh, there you are.
Got the You just
I went the
round.
long way. Went the long way.
I got the door.
Oh, thank you for me. That's so sweet.
Yeah. Look at all these books.
Why is there a fork up here?
Why not?
Forking kidding me. Forking around right now. Collection of poems. Oh, hey, what's up? You want to throw me out? Yep, sweet. Yeet! I've been yeeting out the front door. It was all part of the plan.
You have been yeeten.
I've been yeeting. Yoten.
Yorted.
Well.
I heard his footsteps, so I got scared. Fork.
Can't tell if he sees me. I'm just looking at him intensely. Oh, shit, he sees us.
Bye.
We stole a toy.
Nice. Need a can of soup. Fill out the toilet. What do you mean you're at soup? He's watching TV.
What store are you in? I'm at the soup store. Why are you buying clothes in the soup store?
Fuck you! He's so angry.
I'm just finding rats in the kitchen. That's all I ever find is rats in the kitchen. Rats.
Oh, a slipper.
Nothing to the right of the stove. Found another rat.
I got his slipper. He only gonna have... Hello, rat. One slipper. Oh, I missed. Yeet.
I found a cookie jar.
Ah. Who stole the cookies from the cookie jar? Cat stole the
Cat
cookies
stole
from
the
the cookies jar. It's coffee.
Oh, hello. Oh, coffee.
It's
At least I got it
coffee.
outside. Where are you taking me? 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 Am I going? Am I going to get roasted? I'm in the oven.
Roasty toasty.
I'm being roasted. Roasted gnome. I'm gotten gnot. Gnomes, gnot.
Is it like gnocchi?
Eating?
Gnocchi?
Yeah. Gnocchi. Thank you.
Up. Oh.
Oh, I found a rat.
Real one?
And more coffee. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Coffee. plate.
Cat!
Another plate. What?
Careful.
Oh, I've been got straight into the oven. Whoa. Who could have
Yeah?
predicted? Who could have predicted? The oven. The oven. Oven.
I'm down. I'm down. Come on. Hey. Okay. Skull. Me. Is you good?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Was that everything? Okay. That was everything on this side of the... I just
Toilet.
need to check
He's
the
in
other...
the bath!
Is he naked in the bath?
Yeah, it's all like Sims pixely.
Thank for that.
You need to flood the toilet.
Do you need something to flood the toilet with?
Have we found something to stab the... I think he's out of the bath. We need a can of soup.
Okay. Let me search these. Oops. I'm just finding rats. No soup. Only rats.
What about rat soup?
If only I could make rat soup.
He's on
Well, nothing
He's on
in...
the sofa by the front door.
Fuck. Okay.
Hi, rat. Ah, rude! No!
Did the rat get you?
Yeah. I'm in the,
Coming.
yeah, in the... There I am. Am I dead?
Live! I resuscitate.
I think I'm dead.
No.
Why did I die so fast?
Oh no, he saw me.
Oh. Quick, block the toilet.
Oops. Will this work? I didn't need those legs, right?
Why did they grow back?
Look at them feet. I didn't need them, right? They were just optional.
Why do they grow back?
Magic.
Why can't we collect our own feet?
I don't know. Well.
Oh, look, a rat.
No. There we go.
I think you just need the one towel. I think that seemed to do the trick last time.
Ah! Thank you for the bonks, Quantum.
Quantum bonks.
Come on, little Pinocchio arms. Ready?
You can do it.
Come on. I believe in you, little arms. Come on, little arms. You can do it.
Scroll wheel? Will that help? I don't know.
That did help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Nice. Now
And
you
now
need to stab something or find soup. Uh-oh. Hineki.
Oh no. That's okay. I can hide behind the bathtub. Where are you?
I'm dead. He's looking in the cupboard.
Perfect.
You're fine.
Let me res you.
He's gonna be in the bath for a while.
Let me come res you. When my wife told me to stop impersonating a flamingo, I had to put my foot down.
Aww.
Oh, I was
Stop
trying to go
wearing
through the
pink.
window. I'm like, no, because flamingos typically have one leg up.
Yeah, I know, but does that mean they have to stop wearing pink too?
Oh, true.
Wait,
Wait, was there any knives on the dining room table? Let me go look.
I don't know.
Fuck. No.
There's spoon.
I've been got. I'm being thrown out the front door, so it's okay.
Okay. No, there were only spoons.
There's nothing in the lower cabinets.
How to get up? Need to climb. Hey!
Dude, don't you want to take another bath?
I got some bread. And a chopping board. No, okay, just the bread.
Just the bread?
I got bread. Hello. I threw bread down.
Hello.
Okay.
Nice loaf. Fuck, he's seen me.
Run away! Ah! He got me!
Where?
He's throwing me outside.
Where's he taking you?
He threw me.
Okay.
Ah.
I'm gonna stay in this cabinet.
Good. Okay. He's looking. No.
Yeah.
No. No. No.
Okay.
He's like all the way outside, but why? Why you follow me outside to the trampoline? Trampoline.
Oh no.
He coming.
He threw a bread. He picked up the bread and threw it. And I'm being in the oven. I'm a roasting gnome. Gnome.
I think he has a gun on him now. He had something shiny in his hand.
Oh, I had just seen the bread. That was it.
Okay.
And I thought he threw the bread at me, but I could be wrong. He did have the bread.
Okay.
He did throw it at me. Okay.
Bread. Out of the window. Okay.
Out of time. Get to the tornado.
Oh no!
Well.
Fine. I was trying to get this soup.
Yeah, let's just go die, I guess.
Let's
just go die.
Roomba's trying to get me.
Yeah, the Roomba's chasing us.
Whee!
The Roomba's just like,
oh, hi!
Hello! Tandem spins! Whee!
The Roomba's just like, take me with you, please. Oh.
What? Okay.
Why? Put me in the fire.
I was trying. Just put my hands. Caress the flames. Caress the flames. Ooh. Oh, nice flames. Nice flames. Ooh.
Oh.
Those fingers nice and toasty. Why is it looking at me so judgmentally?
Stick.
Caress the
Stick. Oh. No. I think they need to lower day 1 to 2 tasks. Or just 1. And then it gets incrementally up. I stuck. I was stuck in his, like, pallet.
Me too.
Okay.
Oh. Gross.
A little.
Your palate. Gimme. 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 Gimme.
Want stick?
There we go. Stick. I have stick now. Are you just hugging?
Uh-oh.
Okay, bye.
I got stuck. Okay.
You're okay? Are you trying to pick the nose of the high gnome?
I'm trying to climb him.
Eh.
I got stuck.
Sure. Uh-huh. Oh, I almost walked into that. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
1.
We can do this. We can do this.
For real.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe.
We got this.
Oh. Hey.
And we landed.
Nice. Mwah.
Thank you. I'm going to the right. Oh. Jumpity, 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 jump. Is there nothing over here? Whole lot of nothing? Wonder if there's gonna be a dog later, because there's like lots of dog stuff.
What's that button for a screenshot? Is it F12? I think I took it. Oh, you did a thing? Oh, nice.
What was it?
What is what?
Oh, travel through sewage system. I'm like, that's all I did is I just traveled through the sewage system. So I'm like, what did I do? What did I do?
Exactly that. He's sleeping. In the bedroom, and he's sleeping on the bed.
Snoozing.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
He awake.
He's awake?
He awake.
What did I find?
He just...
I found a gun. Is one of the things to shoot?
No.
Well, I'm gonna shoot him. Where's
kill
he
him?
at?
He left.
Yep.
We can kill him?
Yep.
I won't be no murderer. Oh.
Killed him. I'm a murderer.
Okay.
Yeah. I did a heckin' Mordor.
My whole screen kind of wiggled.
Yeah. Mine just is a little bit red. It's fine.
Just means we're safe now, right?
Oops.
Does he come
Trying to
back?
open the door. No, I don't think so. Is there anything we can drag to the front door?
Oh, what, to get out?
Yeah.
Oh no, are we stuck in
Otherwise,
here?
it might be.
I
No,
mean, I'm
hold on.
putting small things into the toilet.
Nope, we're not.
No?
Nope, I opened the front door.
Nice.
I'm amazing.
Yes.
Do 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 do. All right. Now, what was in here? Was there anything in here? No.
Aw, missed.
Can I turn this off?
Wait, can I just open this? And then put outside. Yeah. Nice. Ah. Clear tooth.
No, I found a toy.
There we go. I flushed everything in the bathroom.
Let's go.
Hi, Roomba.
What ball? Ah! What is this? It's an evil gnome. I found the evil
got
gnome.
Roomba'd. I was trying to turn it off and I stood in front of it by accident and I got Roomba'd. Oh no.
Well, I guess that's what happens when we kill the guy.
There are
We get evil
gnomes?
Yeah.
Oh.
Somebody clip it. Clip it so we can show the evil gnome. Yeah. Let me go clip it. Where?
Blech.
Reload. Bleh.
I got spat out over the side.
Of course you did.
Why do I keep getting yeeted across the fucking world? Why do gnomes live in the sky? I start
Why do
streaking.
they live in the sky?
I start streaking. Ah. Thank you for the 7 streak. I don't know how you did with Brutus the other day, but I don't think I'm very good at this.
No, I died.
Okay. Yeah, we exploded because we didn't do too well. We didn't do the tasks.
Okay. Save clip.
I am just gonna go refill my drink quickly. I'll be 2 seconds.
Paste. There you go. There is the evil gnomes.
Oh, I will watch it
back.
at some point. But yeah, I'll be right back.
Wow. Oh, look at that face. Wow, look at that face. Nice. Whee! I spin you right round, Kirk, right round. Till you got up. Wow, so cute. So cute. Look at them cheeks. The wibbly wobbly cheekies. Such a nice beard you have. I like how wibbly wobbly your little hat is, too. Kirk POV. You two explode when you don't finish your tasks. Yeah. Wow. Whee. I should do like a clip of my POV versus Kirk's POV of this. Because it looks like my arms are doing crazy things, but your face is just like whoa, going all over the place, and it's just like my arms are just doing the thing. Wah. Boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, ba-dee, doo, 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 doo. Ba-da-da. Ba-da-da. My arms do be going crazy. Yeah. They do be going crazy. How are you all doing today? Y'all having a good Friday? Hope it's nice and chill and cooling down. This game is so silly. I know. I love it. It's so derpy. It's so derpy. It's amazing. Really derpy.
I'm back.
Let me just fall over.
Grab. Aw.
Grab. Grab.
Grab.
Grab. Grab. You gotta do some sound effects.
I have to do the sound effects?
Yeah. It's so much better with the sound effects. You're chilling now? Oh, good.
Good.
Oh, and
Oh.
that's on my side.
Oh. My Friday's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I had to work earlier, but it was pretty good. The day went quickly.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
We just took my cat to his vet appointment. So that was nice and fun.
Yes, I had
he
work.
poo-pooed and he poo-pooed and puked. Yeah.
You told me
on the way over.
You told me he threw up in the car. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me he pooped.
Yeah, he pooped. I think he's got a nervous GI system. I think he has IBS or something like that for cats. Oh, he's fine. He's fine. He's just got like a nervous tummy, so whenever we drive him somewhere, he usually poops or pukes. So this time he decided to do both.
Why not both?
I got I got the pee pad underneath him for the poop. And then but not for the puke because I had to he kept trying to bury his poop and I'm like, "No, that's not how this works." So I had to pull pad away to fold it up over his poop and then he got too far away from me in the car so I couldn't put it back underneath him to catch his puke. So we had to clean it up when we got to the vets.
Oh no.
But he was fine. He was fine. He got his pills, he got his checkup. He was a good boy. He got his treats. He ignored us for 30 whole minutes when we finally got home. 30 whole minutes. And
Mother,
then
you
he
betrayed me.
Then he joined me later and he was fine. He was cuddling with me right before stream.
Aww.
So we had an adventure today.
And the person that turned Cat into a derp emote, it was Cat. It's their fault.
Yeah. Yup. I am a derp. I am a derp. I have derp emotes. I have a couple of derp emotes. I think right now the only one I is this one on Twitch, and then I've got at least two in my Discord.
I think Quantum's talking about your Fugi on mine. Which is basically just the derp emote on here.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is true. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at it like 4 minutes ago, and I already forgot. I was just looking at it. And I forgot it existed. All right, again.
Yes.
Wrong.
Right. We can do it.
We can do it.
it.
I believe in us.
I believe in you.
I believe in you that believes in the me that believes in. Is that how that goes? I think it's the other way around. But yeah. It's from Gurren Lagann, the anime Gurren Lagann. It
I
says,
do not
"Believe in the
know.
me that believes in the you that believes in the me." Trying to hype up his little brother. We've landed.
Okay. I'm going left.
I'll go right. It's
I got
a great
I
quote.
got some ivy.
Nice.
climbed.
I did not get ivy. Oh,
Okay,
I found
I'm
some ivy.
in an empty hallway. Nice.
Oh, what are our tasks? Gather scrags, flush an item down the toilet, break the TV, steal lotion, cosmetics, or cream, blow up a rat. Well,
right.
I have found a bedroom.
I think I found the front door.
Let's go.
I think it's the front door. Looks like it should be the front door. It's got the latch on the door. I'm assuming. Task complete.
There we go. Yeah, I stole some cosmetic
Break
stuff.
the television. Uh-oh. Oh Lord, he coming.
Oh Lord, he coming.
Ah! I didn't hide very
this?
well. No, no, no. No, not the oven.
Atari.
Please, not the oven.
I'm coming. I'm in a room.
You like
See
dogs an inch more than cats? I don't think I have a preference on dogs versus cats. I want to cuddle the floof.
Cuddle the floof.
If it is floof, let me cuddle.
Me.
Freaking out.
Open this door. I cannot open this door. Is this just going to put me on the other side of this room? I got my arms chewed off.
Oh no.
Tis fine. You're in the oven?
Uh-huh.
Fuck.
Hello.
Call me.
Bye-bye. Join
I've been
me.
grabbed.
Join me in the oven. You
Oh,
going
I've
in the
been
fridge? Hello.
You like much more than cats.
We're not
I like
having much luck.
cats. A little bit more than dogs, but I really do love dogs. I love dogs a lot. Please respawn us so we can die again. Oh my gosh, hello. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I didn't.
You got no feet.
It's fine. Kirk, it's fine. Come here. Give me your feet. Give me your feet, Kirk.
No.
Give me your feet.
Oh,
Come here.
Get
Give
your
me
own
your feet. Oh. I've resurrected my feet only to lose them an instant later. I wanted to chase after you on my hands and come after your feet.
Well, I'm not using mine anymore. You could have mine.
All right. Go again. For real this time. The last time was just a test run, right? Yep.
Yeah, test run number 8.
I'm rewarding myself with treat. Okay, what do we got? Steal any item from a bathroom, a plunger, stab a roach, flush an item down the toilet, break any item.
Nice. That seems somewhat doable. You say you're giving yourself a treat?
Yeah. It was the other Reese in the 2-pack.
Oh. Hmm.
A little sliver fell in my lap. Where did it go? I'm gonna end up with chocolate on me.
Yeet. Yeet. Oh, the mousetraps can actually snap.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Did you lose a limb?
No. I'm trying to throw it out the window.
Gno?
Oh, hi. Here you go.
Thank you. I'm gonna go to the other window.
Ooh.
Ow. I lost my legs. I don't know how this keeps happening.
Just keep losing my legs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me know if you find them.
Just opening all the windows. Oh, hi. He's in here. He sees you.
Uh-oh.
He's coming for you. You can usually loop him around the
Whoa,
pool
what the heck?
table. Yep, there you go. He's looking at you.
Is he?
Yeah, he's glitching and he's just like, I see you.
No, you don't. You'll see nothing. Oh.
He's looking at you.
I fell.
It's fine. It's fine. Here he comes.
Fuck your game. Fuck your game. No. Well, you can't play without your controller. Yes, the
Was
front
he eating
door. Yes. Yes. Take me out the front door.
Alright. If I was a bathroom.
Cat, you don't wanna say that. Mm-mm.
What did I say? Oh shit, he sees me.
Can I just
No. If I was a bathroom?
Yes.
I'm like, I had to run back. I'm like, seriously, what did I say? What was I doing? Hi. Is that you? That's a statue.
Okay, let me
Oh shit.
do this and then I'll edit it properly later.
Oh no. Oh shit.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Close this now. And then I gotta do this. And go...
10 minutes left. I found the bathroom.
There you go.
Oh no. Oh
What?
shit, he's got a gun. Oh law, he got a gun.
Why? Why you have
Can I
gun?
Sure. Please.
You don't need gun.
Just flush me. I put the plunger in the toilet, but he grabbed me. And now he's taking me to the front door, question mark? Yeah, that's fine. What?
The gun is aimed at you. Oh no.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh no. Whoa, whoa. No, whoa, whoa. No, whoa, 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 whoa. Can he fuck off, please?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You can't get me. No, you can't get me.
Break any item. All right, well, I can do that.
He's just looking out the window. Leave.
Can we get to the bathroom?
Leave. I'm in the
Please.
bathroom. I just... trying my best to not... You can't flush the plunger. Oh!
Did he get you?
No. I don't think he saw me. Ooh, nice.
I think he clocked me.
No. Go away. No. Flush me. Aw. Bitch. Bitch, put me down. Throw me outside, at least. Please. Yay, I'm going outside. So rude.
I'm bringing the plunger to the front door.
Ooh.
Oh.
Where's the peepee? Found the peepee. Think.
Okay.
Oh, hi.
Made it. Hi.
Up. Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
Flush. Made it. Where'd it go?
I'm behind you.
Oh.
Aw. Damn. Damn it.
There.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yes.
Oh. I somehow flushed
Did you-
myself as well.
Okay. Uh-ohs.
All right. So we got everything done. So we can
Oh.
leave.
Oh.
Are you dying? What happened? Uh-oh.
That scared me so much.
You okay?
No.
What happened?
I got shot.
Oh, he's tired of our shenanigans.
I died. Look. Go that way. I died right here.
Oh no.
I got down the steps and then kaboom.
Kaboom.
I think the little
We can
golem
leave.
is still collecting stuff. Do we need to wait for it to come back?
Probably, but it's only getting one more thing, so we should be fine.
Clonk.
Clonk?
Yeah, it's one of the material names. Clonk. Clonk is gathered from items containing metal. Oh, the cutlery counts as clonk.
Should I go back in and steal a clonk?
I don't know. I guess we need to figure out what we need. We have 4 minutes left.
Let's try and steal this car.
What was...
We good? We not
Mistake.
good?
Mistake.
Uh-oh. Oh no!
Sorry.
He grabbed me.
I'm sorry.
Is he taking me to the toilet though?
I think so.
Yep. I'm being toileted.
Oh, that's okay then.
That's fine.
I got the games thing. I don't know if that's plastic.
Did we take the car?
The car's still out there.
Oh. Might need to drag it all the way.
Hmm.
Or it's one of the things that doesn't count.
Maybe.
Where's the car?
Shit,
I don't see it.
shit,
Oh, there it is.
Shit. No! Fuck! No! Please! Please! I'm in the fridge.
Car doesn't count. You've been frigided.
I'm in the fridge.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Do you know where he is? Never mind.
No.
No. No, 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 no. Fuck you, bitch. Eh. Suck it. Suck it. Suck it. I think you might die in the fridge, though.
Oh no.
Let's see.
I'm still alive.
Okay, I'm coming. I came in through the window. Hold on. Please, last a little bit longer. I'm almost there.
I am still alive.
Okay.
There's also a soda. An orange soda.
Soda. And leave. Let's take this soda and leave. Where's he at? Where's he at? Dining room safe. Hallway safe. Living room safe. Is he in his room? Clear. I'm out.
Come in.
There is a fairy out here.
What does she want?
Hey, fairy. What's up? What you want?
Uh-oh.
2 poop.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh.
No.
I...
No. Oh, I'm in the oven. In the oven. I'm in the oven. Oh no. At least it'll warm me up after being in the fridge. Out of time. Oh no. Quick.
I rescue.
We gotta run.
Oh, he's in the living room, and he's got a
Uh-ohs.
gun. Don't go that-
Uh-ohs.
Go that way. Uh-oh. Oh, watch the Roomba. Can we make it? Can we make it? Can we make it?
I'm trying my best.
Run! Run, your little legs. I'm here.
What did the fairy want?
2 poop.
Oh, I don't have any poop.
I don't have any poop
I'm
either.
sorry.
No. for you, Fairy. I don't know why you're asking for poop.
Make your own.
Fairies don't poop. You're so silly.
Do they not?
That's why like your poops. I don't know. I don't know. Do they poop? Fairies. Fairies, if you're in chat, do you poop or do you not poop? That is the
Question of the
question.
day.
Is there poops? Is there no poops? Ooh, no, 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 no.
Do you mind?
No, 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 no,
Oh. Oh.
Steal.
No.
No stab.
Oh.
Flush. Break.
Hey.
4.
High gnomes? Is this the high gnome?
I think.
Yeah.
It's the tall gnome. Does that mean you're high? Are you high on these mushrooms over here?
Well, we're high up.
Yeah. Are you the high mushroom? Are you high on mushrooms? On this high sky island? He's looking at me kind of sus. Oh, we can make stuff. A backpack. A pickaxe.
Backpack.
Shoes.
Oh.
Can make all sorts of stuff.
Hmm.
Do you want to go again or
additional
do you want to pause?
Break down stealables into their components without having to drag them out of the house. Oh, cool. Helps you identify stealables and what they yield. Oh, that eyeglass looks fucking terrifying.
Looks amazingly fun. What do you mean? So fun.
Map locked, furniture locked, home locked? What?
Oh.
I can't wait. I can't wait. All the shenanigans.
Oh, no. The shenanigans. Yeah.
Can we hold hands?
Oh, can we? Almost.
Kinda.
Almost. Oh, we did it. We did it.
Catch a butterfly.
You won't catch a butterfly.
Yeah.
This looks so cursed for my end.
What?
Look. Gonna catch a butterfly. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Just stay still. Get in my pocket.
Get in my pocket. You're a butterfly. You're the cutest.
I'm not a butterfly.
Butterfly.
Noma fly. What?
That was funny. You want to go one more? Or do we want to gang up on Havelock?
It is nearly 1 a.m. for me, so I might have to say goodnight.
Okay.
Havelock?
It does not have to be Havelock. Yeah, he's playing Baby Steps.
Baby Havelock.
Baby Havelock. So I think it would be fun to rate them.
Where? List. Where? Havelock.
With crowd control.
Where Havelock? There Havelock.
There Havelock.
Oh my gosh. Havelock finally had the baby.
This Havelock's controlling the baby. That's funny. Well, yeah. Thank you all very much for
what's the hang on, what's the
get gnomed?
yeah. Isn't it like I'm a gnome and you've just been gnomed? It's like
Wait, what is it?
I'm trying to it's the you've been gnomed.
You've
I'm a
been
gnome.
gnomed. Baby. You've been gnomed, baby. There we go. How's that?
Is this the raid message?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, raid message for everybody. And then we'll go over to what's up, Sly? What's the matter?
No, come
Aww.
on.
Come back.
Aw. Thank you all very much for joining us. We had very much fun. Very much fun.
Mhm.
I love this derpy game. It's amazingly silly.
Yes.
But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your time zone joining us.
Yes.
Mwah.
Good night, good time zone. And I will see you all on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I have to hit the raid button. Start
Yes.
raid. That helps.
just a little.
Just a little. Pro streamer, y'all. Pro streamer.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye bye bye.